Most Japanese seniors live in homes barely a third the size of those in the United States, yet their days feel quieter and easier to manage. 71-year-old Etsuko Hanari noticed this contrast when she moved to Portland. Back in Kyoto, her little townhouse thrived on gentle order. Every object had a place. In her daughter's spacious American kitchen, the noise came not from people but from things. Mail piles, grocery bags, and half-open drawers demanding attention. After losing her husband, that pressure felt heavier. One morning, while warming her tea, Etsuko realized she missed the simple rituals that once held her steady. The day she couldn't see her counter surface anymore, she decided it was time to bring those habits back. Have you ever walked into a room and felt your shoulders tighten? Let us know which room steals your calm the fastest. Stay tuned. Habit 4 is the one that turned Etsuko's Sundays into her softest breathing space of the week. If these stories support you, subscribe to follow along. Now, let's explore the 8 tiny Japanese habits that helped Etsuko reclaim her sense of home and can help you find the same steady peace. Habit 1. The morning space reset. Etsuko calls this her one breath of calm, and it became her anchor on mornings when her thoughts felt scattered before she even sat up. Every day, before reaching for her glasses or touching her first cup of tea, she chooses a single small surface, no larger than a placemat, and returns it to clarity with slow, intentional movements. Not the whole room. Not even the whole table. Just one small island of calm. Some mornings it's the tray beside her reading chair where magazines and coupons tend to pile up. Other mornings it's the slim bathroom shelf that collects stray combs, half-used creams, and things she swears she never placed there. She isn't trying to finish anything. She's simply creating a pocket of visual quiet, enough space for one long, grounding breath that reminds her she's still in charge of her home, her day, and her peace. This habit truly began the morning she reached for her water glass and realized she hadn't actually seen the top of her nightstand in nearly half a year. It had quietly transformed into a resting spot for unfinished stories, expired vitamins she forgot to toss, an old scarf pin, a crumpled note with a phone number she no longer recognized. And buried under it all was a tiny wooden charm her granddaughter made years ago. She loved that charm, yet she hadn't given it more than a glance in ages. That morning she cleared everything, wiped the surface clean, and placed only the charm and her coaster back. The simplicity struck her so deeply she stayed there for a few extra breaths, almost shocked by how comforting an empty square of furniture could feel. For seniors, especially those over 60 who are adjusting to new routines, changing energy levels, or shifting into smaller living spaces, this habit works because it demands almost nothing from the body. No bending for long stretches. No heavy sorting. No overwhelming decisions. It's gentle enough for slower mornings, arthritic hands, or days when motivation feels thin. Yet the emotional payoff is huge, a small win before the day even begins. And for many older adults in the United States facing accumulated possessions from decades of life, this habit becomes a safe, manageable way to begin creating space without triggering guilt or frustration. What makes this especially powerful is how it restores a sense of authorship. Many seniors talk about feeling like their home gradually took on a life of its own, gathering items faster than they could manage. Etsuko's morning reset reclaimed that authority. One tiny surface at a time, she reminded herself that her environment still belongs to her. Not to the clutter, not to time, and not to the past. So here's your moment. What is one small area, truly tiny, that would make you feel noticeably lighter if you cleared it each morning? A side table. A mail spot. A corner of the kitchen counter. Share it below. Your idea may be exactly what another senior needs to hear today. And stay with me, because the next habit is the one that helped Etsuko release the belongings that carried years of emotion. Habit 2. The thank you release. Etsuko calls this her thank you moment, a gentle ritual that turns letting go into something meaningful rather than stressful. Inspired by Motenai, the Japanese belief that every object deserves respect, she chooses one item each day, a mug, a scarf, or a small trinket, holds it carefully, and quietly says thank you for the comfort, memories, or joy it brought her before passing it on to a donation box or someone who will cherish it. This practice isn't about speed or minimalism for its own sake. It's about honoring the object and releasing it with care. Each item becomes a small ceremony of reflection and gratitude, a quiet moment that reconnects her with her past and her values. The habit became deeply personal when Etsuko released her late husband's old radio. It had sat on a shelf for years, carrying memories of quiet mornings, shared songs, and soft conversations. At first, letting it go felt impossible. She held it, whispered a heartfelt thank you, and carefully placed it in a donation box. Instantly, she felt a lightness she hadn't expected. A small but profound freedom from the weight of accumulated emotion, a sense that she could honor her past without being trapped by it. For seniors, especially those over 60, this habit works on several levels. Decades of belongings, keepsakes from children, gifts from friends, souvenirs from travels, or items tied to past hobbies, can feel heavy and overwhelming. The thank you release reframes decluttering as a gentle, emotionally safe practice. Each object is acknowledged and appreciated, reducing guilt, stress, and decision fatigue. One mindful release per day builds a manageable rhythm, offering both emotional relief and a calmer home environment. It also encourages reflection, helping seniors recognize what truly matters in their daily lives, and fosters a sense of gratitude that can uplift the entire household. Etsuko also noticed that this habit gradually changed her mindset. Memories stayed alive in her heart without cluttering her home. She began to experience a sense of control, peace, and satisfaction. One small, consistent action each day replaced the anxiety of large, overwhelming decluttering sessions and allowed her to care for her home and herself without strain. Surfaces became lighter, drawers more organized, and moving through her rooms felt easier and more deliberate. She even found that this quiet ritual helped her mornings feel calmer, her energy more focused, and her mind less cluttered with worry, creating space for joy, reflection, and gentle creativity. So think about your own home. What is one item you've held onto for emotional reasons? Imagine holding it, thanking it, and letting it go with intention. Share your story in the comments. You may inspire another senior to try this gentle, life-changing habit. And stay tuned, because next, Etsuko discovered a habit that stops clutter before it even enters her home, transforming her front door into a calm threshold. Habit 3. The entryway stop zone. Etsuko modeled this habit after the Japanese Gen-kan, the entryway where everything from outside stays at the door. In her Portland apartment, she noticed that clutter seemed to follow her the moment she stepped inside. Shoes piled up, mail scattered across the table, shopping bags sat in corners, packages lingered, and receipts got lost in drawers. It struck her, the chaos didn't begin in her living room, kitchen, or bedroom, it started right at the front door. To regain a sense of control, she created what she calls a stop zone. A small bench became the landing spot for her shoes, a basket caught the daily mail, hooks held bags, and a tray contained keys and sunglasses. Anything entering the home, groceries, packages, or letters, had to pause at this zone before moving further inside. This simple boundary prevented clutter from spreading through her apartment, reduced tripping hazards, and immediately made the space feel calmer and more intentional. For seniors, this habit is especially valuable. Many over 60 face challenges like limited mobility, balance concerns, or smaller living spaces. A cluttered entryway can quickly become a safety risk. By creating a clear stop zone, seniors can reduce falls, keep pathways clear, and maintain a safer environment while also establishing a daily ritual that promotes mindfulness and organization. Etsuko found that even small actions, like placing a single bag or sorting the mail immediately, contributed to a cumulative effect that made her entire home feel lighter and more ordered over time. Beyond physical benefits, the stop zone also brought emotional calm. Walking through her door no longer meant stepping into chaos. It became a moment of transition from the outside world to her sanctuary. Each neatly organized item reinforced her sense of control, making her feel capable and empowered rather than overwhelmed. She noticed subtle emotional benefits too, a feeling of pride when the stop zone stayed tidy, and a sense of relief knowing that small, consistent actions could prevent larger messes later. Interestingly, this habit also influenced her family. Her daughter, visiting from across town, quickly adopted the stop zone practice, and their mornings became smoother and less stressful. Even small interactions, placing a package in the correct basket or hanging up a coat immediately, created a rhythm of order that was calming and satisfying for everyone in the household. For seniors trying to implement this habit, Etsuko recommends starting small: one basket, one hook, or a small tray. It doesn't require extensive furniture or remodeling, just a dedicated space for items to pause and be processed before entering the home. Over time, this small adjustment leads to a home that feels safer, calmer, and more welcoming every single day. Think about your own home. What's the first thing you drop when you walk inside? Shoes, mail, bags, or packages? Imagine creating a small stop zone where everything has a place and nothing spills over into your living space. This tiny Japanese-inspired habit can prevent clutter from accumulating, reduce stress, and give you back a sense of control over your home environment. And stay tuned, because habit 4 is coming up next. The one Etsuko says brought her the biggest emotional relief, completely transforming how she experiences her home. Habit 4. The seasonal 5-minute purge. Etsuko adopted a gentle, rhythmic decluttering habit inspired by Japan's osoji, the year-end tradition of deep cleaning, and adapted it to fit her energy and schedule in the United States. Every Sunday, she dedicates just 5 minutes to decluttering, focusing on one small area based on the season. Winter calls for a single drawer, spring for a shelf, summer for a basket, and fall for a box. This tiny, predictable practice turned what once felt overwhelming into a manageable, even calming ritual. The key is consistency. 5 minutes is short enough to avoid fatigue, yet long enough to make real progress over weeks and months. For Etsuko, the fall cycle was transformative. She had avoided a box of craft supplies for 10 years, feeling guilty about unfinished projects and uncertain what to keep or toss. On one quiet Sunday morning, she set the timer for 5 minutes, opened the box, and began to sort. Each item she released was accompanied by a small mental note of appreciation: scraps that inspired past creativity, supplies gifted by friends, or tools that had served her well. By the end of the brief session, she had cleared half the box and felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. That small action sparked momentum that carried through the next seasonal cycle. This approach works especially well for seniors over 60. Many older adults face challenges such as reduced stamina, mobility concerns, or cognitive overload when confronting decades of accumulated belongings. The seasonal 5-minute purge provides structure and predictability, turning a daunting task into a gentle, manageable routine. By committing to just 5 minutes, seniors can avoid decision fatigue, maintain a safe pace, and gradually reclaim living spaces that had long felt cluttered. Beyond physical benefits, this habit nurtures emotional well-being. Each 5-minute session reinforces control and agency, proving that progress doesn't require hours of labor or perfection. For Etsuko, these brief purges became a source of satisfaction and calm. She noticed that tackling a small area each week allowed her to release guilt and anxiety associated with clutter, while still honoring her belongings. The rhythmic nature of the habit also created anticipation and pleasure. Each Sunday carried the promise of small victories, building confidence and a sense of order that extended into her daily life. Another benefit was the social and reflective dimension. Etsuko shared her seasonal purges with her daughter, exchanging tips on what to keep, gift, or donate. These moments became opportunities for conversation and connection, turning decluttering from a solitary chore into a joyful practice. Over time, the habit cleared physical space and fostered emotional space, creating room for reflection, creativity, and meaningful engagement with her home and family. So consider your own space. Which season feels easiest to start? A winter drawer, a spring shelf, a summer basket, or a fall box? Even 5 minutes can spark momentum, reduce stress, and transform how you relate to your belongings. And stay tuned, because books were Etsuko's biggest mountain, and habit 5 completely changed how she handled them, bringing clarity and freedom she never imagined possible. Habit 5. The Book Touch Test. Etsuko adopted the book touch test to address what the Japanese called tsundoku, the habit of accumulating unread books. Over the years, her shelves had become crowded with volumes collected during her teaching career, gifts from friends, and books she had meant to read someday. Many of these books she kept out of guilt or nostalgia rather than genuine interest, creating visual clutter and a subtle sense of unease that weighed on her every time she walked past the shelves. To reclaim her space, Etsuko created a soft mat in a quiet corner. Each week, She places a few books on the mat, picking them up one by one. She touches each book, opens it slightly, and asks, "Does this book bring calm, interest, or meaning right now?" If it does, it stays. If not, she thanks it and places it in a donation box or gift pile. This tactile, intentional approach turns decluttering into a mindful ritual, engaging her senses, emotions, and memories simultaneously. It transforms the act from a chore into a moment of reflection and emotional release. The habit resonated deeply with Etsuko because it honored both her memories and her current life. She realized she had been holding on to books from her teaching days more out of duty than desire. The touch test helped her separate emotional weight from genuine value. Each book released brought relief, while the ones she kept offered renewed joy and inspiration. This approach slowed the process, making it sustainable, perfect for seniors managing energy, memory challenges, or decision fatigue. For seniors, this habit combines sensory engagement with emotional reflection, creating a grounding ritual that stimulates memory, curiosity, and joy while reducing clutter. Handling books allows seniors to connect with belongings in a mindful, deliberate way, avoiding overwhelming purges. Each book released is acknowledged, thanked, and given a chance to bring value to someone else, fostering a sense of contribution, purpose, and emotional closure. Etsuko discovered that the book touch test also reshaped her reading habits. By keeping only books that sparked curiosity or calm, she engaged more intentionally with her collection. Her mornings often included a quiet moment on the mat, feeling textures, noticing titles, and choosing what to read next. The practice had ripple effects throughout her home. Cleared shelves made rooms feel lighter, surfaces more open, and movement easier. Even small, repeated sessions created a sense of rhythm and calm that carried through her entire week. So think about your own home. What book has followed you through the most chapters of your life? Place it on a mat, touch it, and ask if it truly brings calm, interest, or meaning today. If it doesn't, let it go with gratitude. This small, sensory habit can transform both your space and your mind, making your home feel more peaceful, lighter, and more intentional. And stay tuned, because habit 6 is the one that made every room in Etsuko's home immediately quieter, and it's simpler than you might imagine. Habit 6, the visual noise sweep. Etsuko embraced a Japanese concept called kanso, the idea that simplicity calms the eyes and mind. Over time, she realized that her home, while physically organized, contained countless small distractions. A bright detergent bottle on the counter, magnets covering the fridge, dusty picture frames, and packaging that clashed with her calm aesthetic. These little items created what she calls visual noise, subtle clutter that constantly demanded attention and drained her energy. To address this, Etsuko developed the habit of removing one piece of visual noise each day. She starts small, a loud label, a stray magnet, or a flashy package. Each item she removes is placed in its rightful home, donated, or discarded. The act is brief, simple, and achievable for seniors, yet its impact is immediate. Her first noise item was a bright red detergent bottle that seemed to shout every time she walked past it. Simply moving it out of sight created an instant sense of calm, making her kitchen feel lighter and more peaceful. This habit resonates particularly well with seniors, whose eyes may tire more quickly or who may feel overstimulated by colors, patterns, and clutter. The visual noise sweep allows them to reclaim spaces without heavy lifting or long sessions of tidying. It is a sensory reset, a daily reminder that small, deliberate actions can reduce tension and foster clarity. By removing even one visual distraction, seniors can experience a noticeable improvement in mood and focus, turning their home into a sanctuary rather than a source of subtle stress. Beyond practical benefits, the habit nurtures emotional awareness. Etsuko noticed that each removed item was a prompt to reflect on her environment. Why was it there? What feelings did it trigger? And did she truly need it in her space? The process encouraged mindfulness, helping her make intentional decisions about what to keep and what to release. Over weeks, these small sweeps compounded, transforming her living space into one that felt orderly, serene, and deeply personal. The visual noise sweep also created a sense of daily achievement. Unlike large decluttering projects that could feel overwhelming, this habit is incremental, doable, and satisfying. Seniors can engage in it without fatigue, completing a meaningful task in just a few minutes. Each small victory reinforces confidence, demonstrating that they can shape their environment in ways that promote comfort and well-being. Etsuko also discovered a surprising ripple effect. Once she began noticing and removing visual noise in one area, she naturally started observing other spaces in her home, subtly creating harmony throughout. Tables became clearer, walls felt calmer, and surfaces invited the eye to rest rather than wander anxiously. Even her daughter, visiting from out of state, remarked on the serene atmosphere, prompting a discussion about mindful living that became a shared family practice. So consider your own home. What is the first visual distraction that catches your eye and interrupts your calm? Could you remove it, tuck it away, or replace it with something soothing? By dedicating a few minutes each day to the visual noise sweep, you can reduce stress, enhance clarity, and cultivate a home that supports peace and focus. And stay tuned, because Habit 7 helped Etsuko honor her past without being overwhelmed by it, a practice that balanced memory, love, and living lightly. Habit 7. The Memory Corner. Etsuko drew inspiration from the Japanese butsudan, a small space traditionally used for honoring ancestors and preserving meaningful memories. She realized her home contained dozens of items tied to her past, her husband's old tools, gifts from friends, travel souvenirs, and mementos of her teaching career. While each piece carried love and memory, having them scattered throughout her home created clutter, made cleaning difficult, and subtly weighed on her heart. She wanted to honor her past without letting it overwhelm her present. Her solution was simple but profound: the memory corner. Etsuko selected a single, carefully chosen spot in her apartment, a small shelf bathed in morning light, and placed there only the heirlooms that brought her the deepest connection and joy. Her husband's fishing knife, a handcrafted lantern from Kyoto, and a few treasured photographs found their home there. Everything else, even items she loved, was photographed, acknowledged, and released with gratitude. By capturing memories digitally or in small keepsakes, she preserved the emotional connection without holding on to physical weight. This habit resonated deeply with Etsuko because it allowed her to honor legacy and emotion intentionally. Letting go of items, even cherished ones, was no longer a source of guilt or anxiety. She could release the rest of her husband's tools, craft supplies, and souvenirs, confident their significance was preserved in her heart and memory corner. Over time, this clarity extended to other possessions, teaching her to distinguish between items that carry real meaning and those kept out of habit, obligation, or fear of forgetting. For seniors, the memory corner is powerful. Many over 60 face the challenge of maintaining meaningful items while navigating limited space or reduced energy. Emotional attachment can make decluttering difficult, but by concentrating treasured items in one designated space, seniors can honor their past without letting it dominate their home. The habit creates a visual anchor of comfort and sentiment, freeing up room for daily life, reducing stress, and making the home more manageable and safe. Etsuko discovered a subtle emotional rhythm in the memory corner. Each morning, she paused for reflection, sometimes lighting a small candle, adjusting a photograph, or remembering a story tied to an object. This brief ritual anchored her day, reinforcing gratitude, emotional resilience, and mindfulness. The memory corner became a sanctuary within her sanctuary, a small, controlled space of beauty, meaning, and calm amidst daily life. The habit also strengthened her relationships. Her daughter, visiting from Portland, appreciated the thoughtfulness and shared stories sparked by the corner. Family members could see and understand the significance of items without navigating cluttered drawers or shelves. By organizing memories thoughtfully, Etsuko cultivated connection, storytelling, and emotional clarity that extended beyond physical objects. So consider your own home. What is one item you would place in a memory corner to honor your past and loved ones? This deliberate habit preserves legacy, celebrates memories, and releases clutter without guilt, making your space feel lighter, calmer, and emotionally balanced. And finally, stay tuned, because Habit 8 is the nightly ritual that changed how Etsuko ended every evening, bringing her home and mind to a state of gentle peace before sleep. Habit 8. The Nighttime Reset Ritual. Etsuko embraced the Japanese custom of ending each day with gentle preparation for the next, bringing calm, clarity, and control over both space and mind. After years of restless nights filled with scattered belongings and anxiety about tomorrow, she realized a small, intentional routine before bed could transform her sleep and mornings. She calls this her nighttime reset ritual. Each evening, Etsuko takes a few quiet minutes to prepare her surroundings. She lays out her clothes for the next day, sets a teacup on a tray beside her bed, clears papers and chargers from her bedside, and dims the lights. These simple gestures create a serene environment, signaling the end of active thinking and the start of restorative rest. This ritual replaces anxious, chaotic nights. By addressing small, manageable tasks before sleep, Etsuko removes mental clutter and replaces it with accomplishment and readiness. The result is calmer evenings, better sleep, and a lighter mental load the next day. For seniors, this habit is especially valuable. Many over 60 experience disrupted sleep or restless thoughts. A predictable, soothing routine reduces stress, fosters confidence in the morning, and turns the bedroom into a sanctuary rather than a source of worry. The ritual also strengthens emotional well-being. Each action, folding clothes, placing a teacup, dimming lights, is a mindful moment that encourages reflection and gratitude. Etsuko often pauses to recall a positive memory or acknowledge a small accomplishment. Over time, it reduces mental clutter and helps seniors approach the next day with optimism and focus. Moreover, the nighttime reset ritual fosters independence and confidence. Even when tired or distracted, the familiar steps guide her toward calm and order effortlessly. Her home feels lighter, her mind quieter, and her sleep more restorative. So consider your own nightly habits. What small, deliberate actions could create calm and readiness for tomorrow? Laying out clothes, preparing a teacup, clearing a surface, or dimming lights can transform your evening. By committing to this brief ritual, you can end the day with dignity, reduce chaos, and wake up with confidence and clarity. What small nighttime ritual brings you comfort? Share it in the comments. Your tip might inspire another senior to create their own evening sanctuary. Etsuko's transformation was subtle but powerful. Her home, once cluttered and chaotic, now felt light, open, and peaceful. Mornings no longer began with frustration. Breakfast on a clear counter, tea ready, and clothes laid out brought calm, making small tasks easier. Her memories, once tangled in piles of objects, now felt honored rather than heavy. Only cherished items, photographs, her husband's fishing knife, a lantern from Kyoto, remained in her memory corner. Everything else was released with gratitude or stored digitally. Walking through her living area now sparked joy instead of stress. She could sit in her favorite chair and feel the room breathe with her. For seniors, these habits offer more than tidiness. They provide a gentle framework respecting energy, emotional attachment, and the need for calm. Each step is manageable, even with mobility challenges. Together, the 8 habits, from the morning space reset to the nighttime reset ritual, create harmony between home, mind, and heart, turning a living space into a sanctuary. Her words capture it. My home finally breathes with me again. Every small habit contributes to a home that uplifts and nurtures, giving seniors clarity, peace, and comfort. Before you go, join Etsuko and support the channel. Step 1. On your YouTube app, scroll the comment preview carousel to find the hype button. Step 2. Tap hype. Step 3. Choose points. Smaller creators get a bonus boost. Step 4. Confirm. Done. You get 3 free hypes weekly. Each hype pushes this video higher, helping more seniors discover these gentle, life-changing habits. While you're at it, like this video, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss new stories and tips. Tap hype, hit like, and subscribe. Together, we can help every senior create a home that breathes, calms, and uplifts. These tiny Japanese-inspired habits may be small, but consistently practiced, they transform your home and your life, showing that serenity and joy are always within reach.